Call the meeting to order. You join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pam, would you do a roll call, please?
Mayor Kime.
Here.
Alderwoman Dobbs. Here. Alderman Fahey. Alderman Donovan.
Here.
Alderman Bennett.
Here.
Alderman Eidman.
Here.
Alderman Rainey.
Here.
Alderman Prince.
Here.
Alderman Steiger. Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will move for approval of tonight's agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No presentations, awards, personal appearance. So that will move us down to the city administrator's report.
You have an updated copy at your seats. Take you down to item number 6. Cochran has been approved as our on-call engineer for the TAP project on South 4th Street. So we'll get a contract from them before the end of the month, bring it to the board for approval. MoDOT has requested another approval from the National Park Service. This is item 7, and this is on St. Mary's Road for that TAP project. There's some concern by NPS about archaeological items that might be uncovered, and MoDOT was kind of concerned about that, so now they want them to give another okay, which they gave a preliminary okay. This is a little more extensive one that's on a actual form from MoDOT that we'll send to them. And then item 8, as you well know, Prop S passed unofficially on Tuesday, 60% of the vote. That's for the $10 million general obligation bond for street improvements. The county clerk usually takes a week to certify the results. She'll get those to us. I've been in touch with McLeany and Gilmore and Bell to start processing the paperwork. Gilmore and Bell asked me for the final certification, a copy of that, so I'll send that to them when we get it. We're also going to be working on language for a lease purchase for the infrastructure, the water sewer. So we have everything underway. The bonding has also been incorporated into the budget. We kind of left those spaces blank to begin with. Now that's been filled in. We anticipated it, but in case it didn't happen, we didn't want to include it for sure. We got that done today. So that'll be included with the budget information that I hand out here in a little while. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Happy item 8. I just would like to make mention that I think going forward, we're too early in the process now to talk about it in detail, but I mean, I'd like to see in future agendas, just an update, a space on the agenda for an update that we speak specifically to the progress that we're making on that. You know, and maybe even if somebody could put maybe a report together, bar chart that shows progress by street or however that would look too.
Are you talking about actual progress when we're doing the construction?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
We're not going to collect this for some time, though, correct?
It's going to take a little bit to get all that paperwork processed and then get it approved to get the bond sold. So yeah, we're months away.
Right. Well, which, Eric, that was my point. We're too early tonight, but I mean, I'd feel remiss if I didn't say, hey, we're looking for progress reports, transparency to the people who were good enough to vote for that,
Yeah.
and tracking the subdivision progress versus the existing street progress, just so people know where that money is going and they're satisfied with that.
Okay. Yeah.
Happy on item 3 and stuff. Has there been some delays in that? Because I thought our original time frame was like July.
It was, then there was some delay on the construction part of it, but then we were getting closer to Jurafet, and it's like, let's not try to do this.
Right.
At the same time, we're struggling with that project going on. So it's like, how about if we just hold until the end of August? That gives us time to dig the foundation, and get the plumber in, electrician in, and then we can get the bathroom delivered, get it set up. So I think it works better with our timetable.
Right. So we went from 2 to 1. Was questioned on what happened to the balance of that money that we had budgeted for to.
So I will bring that to you at the budget meeting. There'll be about 50,000 left over. So what happened was we had 120,000 budgeted for both bathrooms. I'm sorry, take that back. We had 160,000 budgeted. They were 60,000, almost 68,000 to begin with. That price went up to 89,000 by the time we ordered it. So we only had enough money for the one and then for the improvements to put in as well. So, but we'll have money left over that the board can budget however they want for parks. You can do a playground, you can do some other improvement up at Pure Marquette Park and kind of keep that master plan initiative going.
Right. Well, just so we keep that money, to good use, there's the main concern.
Yeah.
So is all of the utilities there at the existing, we're all good for hooking up something else there? Do we have to make major improvements there?
And actually, it's because the elevations where we're going to put it, it'll gravity feed to where we need for it to go. So,
But all the main lines are sufficient?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Anybody else? Good.
Okay, thank you, Happy. Move to staff reports. First up tonight, we'll have our tourism director, Aaron Smith.
Hey, everybody. We're going to start off with the Missouri Humanities Small Town Showcase. We were leading that at first when the first report came out, and that was kind of cool. I thought we were kind of shoe-ins, and then now that I'm looking at it, we're not even in the top 5, but. So I would like to challenge everybody to get out and still vote for that. We're reposting that on Facebook and things like that. And Aldermen, if you guys look at our Facebook, we have that posted. Please get out and vote, because what we would receive is a short video about the community, an hour-long podcast, roundtable style, a feature in the biannual publication for Missouri Humanities, and be featured. Have our video featured in the highlight reel, which would be at their annual gala. And again, you've heard me talk about it, and I'll keep talking about it, that I just love when you get other people to kind of carry your message for you. It comes off as more authentic when you have a different organization come out and say, this community is worth it. They're doing really cool stuff. And so, anyway, we can help that along, in this case, by getting out and voting. That'd be super helpful. Really close to choosing a branding partner for the MPD matching grant to rebrand the city. We, because of our purchasing policy, we had to reach out to a few different agencies and ask for a request for proposal. But that was, my cue to kind of get out and get some competition for McDaniel's. I like what they've done so far, but I think, breeding competition, makes everybody better. So we reached out to 3 different agencies, Madden, McDaniel's, and this one out of St. Louis called Blacktop Sailor. And we received proposals from McDaniel's and Blacktop. So we're just kind of going through those pretty thoroughly. We have a member of the TTC looking through that as well as Happy is helping with that. Installing Visit Widget, we're in the middle of that process. So getting them a lot of the assets that they need. I'm trying to, again, make sure that the look of what we put on Visit Widget is distinct, because I think a lot of towns are, probably using them, a lot of bigger towns. And again, you kind of get get to the point where you might be kind of cookie cutter stamped out. And so I'm been talking with Bill Nagger and Bob Mueller and getting old photos of St. Genevieve. I think it's kind of dawned on me that, we market ourselves as the oldest town in Missouri, but we're not really putting that forward. We still kind of, when you look at our website, we still kind of look like every other town, but we have all this incredible photos from the early 1900s, from the late 1800s. And so kind of mixing that in with our marketing. And that's what I'm working. So part of the Visit Widget thing is working with our website developer to install that, but also, we had enough left over in the budget to kind of revamp the website. And that's what I'm doing, is taking the old photos and embedding them into the website to just put that forward, that we are the oldest town in Missouri, and that's what sets us apart. But we have a future that we're also putting forward So anyways, I also took out an ad in Tour, Taste, and Travel. I think during the last meeting we had another national magazine that Happy had already bought a spot in. So since I had the advertisement ready, I took it out, but they just sent what the advertorial is going to look like. So you get a full page spread, you get an 300-word advertorial is what it's called, and I had to write the ad. And thinking about how to promote St. Genevieve to a national audience and what we should lean into is always interesting because, we've talked about some of the chicken egg problems that we had. Not enough tourism, so not enough businesses open, so not enough tourism, so not enough businesses open, and the wheel goes round and round. So just leaning into the fact that, we're a community that's really focused on the community. And the people here and keeping costs down. And so, we're not a pretentious destination and people can come here and really decompress. And that's what we lean into. So we'll see how it works on a national level. I think it'll be interesting to see what kind of response we get from this. But I'm excied about it. And if you look close, you can see pretty boy Brad Arnold is in there. So, he'll have to, deal with the fame that he's going to get from this.
If Brad Arnold can entice people to town, nobody.
Exactly. That's the way I felt about it. That's why I was like, put this picture front and center. So, any questions, comments, concerns? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Next up, we'll have Fire Chief Kenny Steiger.
Good evening, everyone. Should have a copy of my report. Probably the biggest thing to talk about, like usual, is personnel. We lost one, gained one, and I do have an application on my desk, but I want to talk to that person before I follow through with that. And for the first time this year, we've actually dropped below 20 calls for the month. It's kind of odd for us, but I'm happy with that. We're still ahead above last year's pace, so there's a real good chance we'll get close to the 300 mark again. The 2 items approved last month have been ordered. The hose rolling system we thought was going to be 6 to 8 weeks, actually shipped out of Wisconsin, should have it by the end of the week. And the turnout gear we resized for, and that'll be 90 to 120 days. And I'm working on the specs right now for the hose that will finish out that grant. And other than that, I have the one open radio grant for the handhelds. We're still waiting on delivery of those. They told us June, then they told us July. Now maybe the end of August yet. That's the last of the RSOC grant. And I do have a RSOC grant in for this year for some intercom systems for one of the trucks. And we have a meeting next week. And I sit on that RSOC committee, so I'll be able to find out if we have any luck with that. So I should know something on that RSOC grant next week. Open to any questions.
Okay. Thanks, Chief. Last up tonight, we'll have Assistant City Administrator David Bova.
Good evening, everyone. You've got my report there. If we go down to Building Department, Code Enforcement, just want to point out, there's a lot of roofs going on. We've actually had 8 more roof permits submitted since I typed up this report. So just remind everyone out there that we do have roof permits. We do inspect those. So there's a lot of them going on due to the hail damage. If you go down to sidewalks, I wanted to update those numbers also. We've had actually 7 of the folks that we mail letters completed repairs now. 4 are still on track to complete. Comprehensive plan, the Planning and Zoning adopted that plan last Thursday, a week ago. I'll have hard copies for you all next week, Wednesday. I'll email you when they become available if you want to pick them up. If not, we'll have them at the next meeting. Like to, once you get that in your hands, establish a committee going forward, comp plan committee, maybe 2 or 3 aldermen on that. Talk about some of the goals and plans that are in that and what we would like to do to move forward. So I'll send out an email to that effect too, if you all want to think about that. On to the second page. I'd want to point out, if you didn't know, the ferry is now operating, but it only operates Friday through Sunday. And then down into property maintenance, we've had an uptick in vegetation, but The other numbers are pretty in line there. There is a incorrect date there. The 42 South Main tax sale date is now September 5th. And that will be in the Herald next week.
I believe so, yes.
That's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Thank you, David. This time we will move into public comment. Okay. Doesn't appear we have any public comment tonight, so we will move to tonight's consent agenda. Happy, I did have one question. I had a business owner, and I see it's in here, regarding the street closure tomorrow.
Yes.
She'd asked about, I think my understanding is that her business is on Main and Merchant, but people would be able to get to her business around Front Street and Merchant, is that right? Or is
Yeah, you can go the back ways. It's Washington.
Washington too? And I think her other concern was handicap parking. I think, because all the street parking is there any handicap parking on Main Street? I'm trying to remember her exact question.
There's one space on Main Street in front of the church.
Okay, so it's not. Okay, so it's down further.
Right.
Okay, maybe, and that may have been related to where her location was previously. So I think there was a question about it, but there would be able to get to the businesses on Main around back through Front Street.
It's going to be restricted.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you have to expect with a festival like this.
And we've always closed it at that time, I guess, or around that time.
It's actually an earlier request. What happens is people will show up at 2:00 and start setting up,
Yeah,
even if we say 4:00 or 5:00.
okay,
So she has requested that it be 1:00. But we're waiting until probably 2:00 to start putting the barricades up.
okay. We had any other feedback on that, or is it, I guess people are probably used to it by now?
Used to it-ish.
Okay.
There will be issues probably at some point with somebody because
Okay,
it just is not, it is inconvenient.
yeah, okay. I just wanted to bring it to attention, and she was just curious, but I think she had determined that there was a way to still get to her business, but it kind of a long route, scenic route. Okay. And I believe we do have a motion and a second for the consent agenda, correct? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Take us to small business. This will be a second reading of bill number 4624. This is an ordinance authorizing approval of supplemental agreement number 1 to the Transportation Enhancement Funds Agreement between the City of St. Genevieve and the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission for St. Mary's Road Sidewalk Improvement Project, TAP -9900096.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Pam, would you do a roll call, please?
Alderwoman Dobbs. Alderman Donovan.
Yes.
Alderman Bennett.
Yeah.
Alderman Eidman.
Yes.
Alderman Redden.
Yes.
Alderman Prince.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no's, 2 absent. Bill number 4624 now becomes ordinance 4545.
Thank you. Take us to a second reading of bill number 4625. This is an ordinance authorizing the dissolution of the Tourism Advisory Council.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Pam, would you do a roll call, please?
Alderman Prince.
Yes.
Alderman Rainey.
Yes.
Alderman Eidman.
Yes.
Alderman Bennett.
Yes.
Alderman Donovan.
Yes.
Alderwoman Dobbs.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no's, 2 absent. Bill number 4625 now becomes ordinance 4546.
Thank you. And lastly, here in old business, we have a second reading of bill number 4626. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an amendment of the intergovernmental agreement for construction cost sharing between the city of St. Genevieve and St. Genevieve R2 School District.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Pam, would you do a roll call, please?
Alderman Bennett,
Yes.
Alderman Donovan,
Yes.
Alderwoman Dobbs. Yes. Alderman Eidman,
Yes.
Alderman Rainey.
Yes.
Alderman Prince.
Yes.
6 yes, 0 no's, 2 absent. Bill number 4626 now becomes ordinance 4547.
Thank you. Move on to new business. This will be a first reading of bill number 4627. This is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission Transportation Enhancement Funds Program Agreement for public improvements along South 4th Street, Highway 32. This is TAP-9901879.
Move to approve.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we'll conclude everything we have on our agenda right now. Any other business to bring forth right now?
Congratulations on the progress.
To everyone. Yeah. Pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Pretty exciting. Thanks to all that contributed and helped out spreading the message. Dina's in our audience there. I appreciate her help with the chamber. The IDC obviously deserves a big shout out as well. So it was a collective effort. It took a village, but yeah, we're pretty excited. So now the work begins, and that's the fun part, I think. All right, well, if there is no other business, then I will go ahead and adjourn. Call tonight's work session to order and move for approval of tonight's agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Work session agenda item number 1 is regarding the tourism tax ordinance. And there is an option to close part of this meeting if we need to.
My thought on the closing of it is, you don't have to. But I guess what I'd say is if you're not going to follow my advice, I'd rather it be closed. If that makes any sense, because you should have a memo in front of you, which is a confidential memo for the city.
I did not give the memo.
Oh, I thought you did.
I just handed it to you,
I'm
for
sorry.
just for, it's a,
But, so, I mean, I
That's what I
think,
was
in
talking
abundance of
about.
caution, I think it'd be a good idea to go into closed session. We can come back out and open, we can talk publicly after that if you want to, but it'd be for legal advice.
Discuss legal. Second.
Okay, so there is a motion to close the meeting at this time. and We do have a second. Pam, would you,
Is it possible to move that to number 3 and cover the other 2 items in case somebody here?
I would prefer that they wait in the hallway. We cover this item first and then get into budget and the other items.
Okay.
It won't take that long.
That's,
okay, so we do have a motion and a second to close the meeting. Pam, would you do a roll call, please?
Alderwoman Dobbs. Yes. Alderman Donovan.
Yes.
Alderman Bennett.
Yes.
Alderman Eidman.
Yes.
Alderman Rainey.
Yes.
Alderman Prince.
Yes.
Motion carries.
You gotta fire the lawyer.
You quit.
We need to recap that.
You don't have to.
You can't.
Okay. Any penalty?
well, it just never shows up on, as an ordinance.
Okay. All right, is everybody good to move on to work session item number 2?
Yep.
Okay. And it's budget season.
It's not school, it's time for handouts.
Very exciting.
A year ago.
I know. We feel like that one.
So I'm not going to go into detail on all of this because we will do that next Thursday. So I don't want to belabor it. But I want you to have a chance to look at the large overall picture. It gives you an idea on the general fund on top and then the dedicated and enterprise funds on the bottom. That you can see where we start with an unaudited balance. So that's what we have left over in cash, CDs. And on the right is where we end up, through our estimates, where we end up at the end of the year. And whether that's in, in a positive or negative territory. So it gives you a chance to look at that, try to, maybe glean some questions. I will be happy to answer any questions. If you want to stop by the office, call me on the phone, text me, whatever. However, I want you to be aware that after going through this, that for the general fund, which has a bottom number that was approved by the board, for the general fund is that we couldn't have less than 50% of the operating amount as a leftover, as our remaining amount based on our calculations. Based on what I've gone through, we are less than that at this point with the cuts that we've made. We're at 40%, so we're 10% behind. And with that 10%, I mean, we're kind of stuck because I don't know where else we're going to pull extra funds from to make that up. So just to tell you why we are where we are, but you can always blame it on the city administrator. That's the first spot. So when we went through it and looked at everything, no, ours has nothing to do with utilities. So it's not the same issue as what the county has been facing. Ours is a number of factors. And we made some changes, made some approvals. So we have higher dispatch costs. Once the 911 ordinance passed, the state or in the county, the tax, the phone company began to not collect or stop collecting the tax that they were collecting. So that was offsetting what we and the county were paying for 911. So when that happened, that portion got taken away. Our full amount, our full portion of what it cost for St. Francis County to do our dispatching went up. So we're up at $183,000. We were at about $115,000. So with that increase, that eats into our operating costs because that is a monthly bill that I have to send in. We do have more maintenance fees because we improved our IT. We have body cameras, we have tasers, we have cloud permit now. So again, yearly fees that go into maintaining that equipment. We had a salary adjustment last year, if you all remember. So we put in the new step raises. But we also made adjustments to make it more market, more of what the market is. So that increased again what our yearly amount is for salaries. We didn't see this one coming, but liability and casualty insurance went up. And that's because we do have one lawsuit hanging out there that they are at this point setting money back for. We have take-home vehicles for the police department. So we have increased costs there with gas and maintenance. And because we all had ARPA money in there at one time, that kind of balanced it, that we had these extra funds that were in there. So those are about to be spent out. We have $30,000 in there for the website, about $5,000 for stormwater. So we're about done with those. Because we have the website coming to the board here probably in the next few weeks to approve. It'll be put into this budget, but that's all we have left now, out of $899,000 that we had for ARPA. We've also, over the years, we have moved money out of general fund into the capital projects. So what we had extra in there has also been moved to a different fund. So that isn't in there and balancing us. So we have $77,864 that remains based on what our unaudited balance is, what the revenue amount that we estimate for this year, which our estimates, gone through 3 times now. We're very comfortable with them. We are somewhat conservative, but we believe that conservation is a better approach than trying to, let's add $20,000 here and $30,000 there. I don't think that's good policy. So we end up with 2.6 million. But if we're going to have some extra expenses, which some of this, there's grant money coming in, but some of it is also, we're looking at life safety type of items. So I can't see not getting the body armor for the police department. We bought one group of it, now it's time to buy the other group. So everybody is up to date. Turnout gear for the fire department. You just can't, you have to get the turnout gear for the fire department. And then the rest of it's grants and the cars we have lease payments on. So that's what's included in there. We actually are looking that we could probably get cars this year because they may not come up for the first payment until next budget year. So we can maybe figure out a way to finesse that between now and then. We're still looking at that. So those are just some of the things. Down below, everything is good except water. We have got to get a rate analysis done this coming budget year. If we don't, we're losing money in the water department. We have to get the rate analysis done. And included with that would be the sewer department as well, just to know that we're on track, because it's starting to eat into some of its reserves as well. So again, I'll go into more detail next Thursday. But I just wanted to kind of be prepared as to what the problems are and why we've come into these problems. In front of you, you also have what the capital requests were, and it wasn't that much this year. But I've listed everything that is in the capital requests. And some of the extra stuff that we spend, like for the chamber has, we give them $6,000 a year, $500 every month. We also have to pay for our chamber membership. We have the Parkland Ready, which is for economic development, and I've been talking to Scott Sattler about that, trying to get things going. That's our portion of it. The county has their portion of it. You look like you have a question.
St. John TV reduced due to state statute. What's that mean?
So the phone company got the okay, or the cable company got the okay to reduce the tax that they have, the franchise tax. It used to be 5%. It goes down to 0.5% for the next 5 years. So it's eventually down to 2.5%. So what we're collecting is less than what we used to. May not be as many people that have cable TV, but we've seen a significant decrease over the last couple of months, last couple of payments. And we see the trend being that we're probably only going to get about $32,000 as opposed to $42,000 this year. And it's going to trend down every year. Yeah. So I contacted the folks with the TV station and said, we can't sponsor what we usually sponsor. Because we've usually been around $39,000 to help them out. With our estimates this year, we're figuring we're about $10,000 less. So, if you got questions, otherwise, take a look. Be ready next Thursday.
One quick question, Happy, on the dispatch cost. Does that include the payment that we're making to be approved to the county, which was, I want to say, 120,000 annually?
This is it. This is what it is.
180, you mentioned a 180 number.
Right.
So that includes that number that we're still continuing to pay.
Yeah. So what we're paying for is our reserve. And probably paying for some operations.
Well, it's infrastructure that they were trying to get up to date, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
So
that will back off at some point.
Correct.
Yeah. But we don't know when.
So we have an agreement right now that runs through December for this payment. So they're going to approach us again probably in the next month or so and see if we're going to re-up that.
Well, I know they're gonna ask. I mean, clearly gonna ask because I don't think that tax brought in as much as they thought it was going to. Just the way that other county tax, well, it's been talked about a lot.
Right, right.
So they're gonna keep asking. Probably into the foreseeable future, I would imagine.
They were saying they thought they would have enough by 5 years and then they would balance out.
Just don't know that it turned out as they hoped, at least in the first year. We'll see.
And I haven't been at the meeting, so.
I was just curious that 180 number, that included that amount that we were paying.
That was our dispatch amount that it went up. It wasn't
Yeah.
125 or 100, it used to be 115, then it went up to 189 because of the lack of a phone tax now.
Right. Okay.
Happy, you had made the point that, we vote on all of these things as the years goes along, whether it's anything that we need to do, whether it's an upgrade to cybersecurity or any of these added expenses that we vote on through the year. Is there a way to keep a running total on that so when it comes to budget time, we have a number there that we've known that we voted in those increases and stuff? I mean, I'm assuming that the next budget year, those numbers would be included for future budgets, but, it's hard. It's easy to lose those numbers as we vote on them one at a time of what we've increased. That if we had a running balance where we could see what that number is, so that it doesn't come up and all of a sudden, this is what our number is. We've increased our expenses this much, and this is why we're short and stuff. Is there a way to?
So it comes out every month with the treasurer's report. If you look at the balances, you will have noticed that our general fund balance has dropped below $1 million. So we're at about 500,000. Now, once we figured or saw that happen, it's like, well, there's another number that needs to move over, and we hadn't transferred money out of the capital improvement fund yet.
Right.
So that brought us up to about 900,000. But if you look at that will tell you what's in that account. But I think you also end up with, we had equipment and buildings and other issues that had popped up in the last year, besides this, and this was planned for, but the other stuff was not. And we had to do something we had to buy the equipment or we couldn't function.
Well, I'm not saying that we're out there spending money previously. It's just that we can track that a little simpler, way and stuff. See, I know you're watching it, but it just would make it easier to vote on those issues as they come up.
Right. Now, if you look at the treasurer's report, it will give you a monthly balance of where we are financially. Okay.
Questions? Talk more about it next Thursday.
I would like to have to zoom in for that.
Yes.
Moving my eldest to college.
That's important.
Ready for that.
It's a big deal.
All right, that will take us to work session item number 3. That is regarding the IT policy.
Report sessions recommended the IT policy, which I emailed to you. I wasn't going to copy it again and give it to you. I thought it was a lot of paper. If you had any particular questions, if you looked at it. With that IT policy, we need to adopt the cell phone policy for our personnel code because it pulled out of what is currently our technology policy. Unless somebody's got some heartburn with the IT policy, I'm looking at bringing it back as just a supplement to our personnel policy as well as the cell phone policy. That's all it was. I don't think anybody's got a problem.
Okay. No questions on that one? All right.
That's it for me.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to discuss at this time for the work session? Just to let everybody know, I'd have a call tomorrow morning with the developer regarding the proposed subdivision now that the prop's unofficially passed. So we're just going to kind of lay out some details moving forward. Obviously, they still have plenty to do. We still have plenty to do, but just to kind of get where they're at. They were supposed to continue kind of engineering and doing some back channel stuff while we were in the phase of trying to get the financing secured. So I think tomorrow is just going to be kind of a status update, and then this is what we're going to be doing, this is what you're going to be doing, and then get that thing moving. And I'll report back to everybody after that conversation and let everybody know where we stand. Anything else at this time?